Well, good morning.
Good morning, Father.
Thank you. You know, there's a movie that's known as the most theologically correct movie ever written. And, you know, you're probably thinking some along the lines of The Passion of the Christ or Brideshead Revisited. But actually, you're actually going to laugh at me when I actually tell you what the movie actually is. The movie is Groundhog's Day. But if you think about it, the movie starts as Bill Murray's character is like extremely narcissistic and extremely egotistical. And as the movie goes on, he has to relive the same day over and over again until he gets it right. Well, as he's reliving the day over and over again, he starts to realize in order to get it right, he has to start actually caring about other people and taking care of other people and looking out for them. So his life is no longer about himself, but those around him. And in doing so, as the movie goes on, he actually has to surrender over who he used to be to become this new person. And in doing so, then he learns how to love. So that's why it's known as the most correct movie theologically right there. About surrender, redemption, and sanctification. You know, today is the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul. And, you know, and we look at our gospel today. We see Jesus taking the apostles to Caesarea Philippi. Now, if you don't know this, never heard of this place before, this was known as the most evil place in the region, probably in the world, be honest about it. It was the most evil place. Pagan worship, all these horrible things going on. And Jesus leads the apostles to this place. And he looks at them and says, "Who do you say that I am?" You know, and when doing so, when Peter answers the question, he says, "You are the Messiah, you are the Christ, you are the Son of God." And this question here of Jesus is actually the question that starts our church. Because next he says, "Upon this, I call you Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." But this question that Jesus asked Peter is one that begins our 2,000-year-old church. Who do you say that I am? And our church has been reformed many, many times throughout these past 2,000 years. Many transformations, many changes. And today we're being asked to reform it again. But it's always based on the same question for these past 2,000 years. Who do you say that I am? You know, when we think about our world today, how tough it is to live in our world today. There's a lot going on, always changing, seems hard to navigate. But yet there's still Jesus standing there, asking us the same question. Who do you say that I am? Because when he asks this question is not like an egotistical question from Jesus. This question is actually asking where our heart is. He's asking us so we know where our heart is. Because when we think about it, this answer that Peter gives is the one where he comes to know who Jesus really is. And not just that, but also the sense of knowing that he is the Messiah. He is the one that was sent by God. And he is the one we are to follow. And in doing so, in order to love then, we must surrender over to Jesus. We must give over to him to love. And Peter and Paul shows us how to do this, actually. Because when Jesus goes to Peter and gets in his boat and the catching of the fish and all those things, Peter understands now. He looks and kneels down and says, it says, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man." He knows his unworthiness. But Jesus just says, come and follow me. I will make you fishers of men. Paul, on his way to Damascus, St. Paul is confronted by Jesus on the way to Damascus. It says, Saul at that point in time, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And he's struck blind. And then he has to go and live with the people he was persecuting and learn how to trust them. Giving over, surrendering. You know, many times our hearts at times are always in need of healing. Many things affect us. Our own sins, other people's actions, things that are going on around us. Our hearts are always in need of healing. And in doing so, Jesus is standing there, walking with us, being with us, and his heart speaking to us about how much he loves us. You know, and in doing so, but our hearts, though, at times, because of the hurt that it carries and the sadness and disappointment that it carries, at times doesn't reach back out. And at times can kind of run away. But Jesus is just still there, calling for us, asking us the same question, that we can surrender over to him. That love, so he can heal and open our hearts more to love. You know, and there are many times we see disappointment. We only see disappointment. We only see hurt or struggle. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is because at times when we only see that, is because we're holding on to something where Jesus is calling us beyond. He's calling us to new places, new heights. And we need him to help us to move on beyond those moments where we only see those struggle and disappointments and stuff like that. So on this day, how can we answer like Peter? When Jesus asked the question, who do you say that I am? And we answer, you are the Messiah, the Son of God. And the more we do that, the more we open our hearts to him and allow his heart to love us. So on this day, this week, how can everything we do, our words, our actions, everything answer the question of Jesus by saying, you are the Messiah, the Son of God?